It's very possible that free will does not exist, but actually it doesn't matter. I just had this discussion with my godson, and people his age, he's 22, are often fascinated and very sincere in how much it matters that free will in some form should exist and how importantly different the world is without it. Let me try to de-influence you on this. And I know it's gonna be hard, but hear me out. It starts with a story. The story of a conversation that supposedly happened between Ludwig Wittgenstein and Elizabeth Anscombe. And it's supposed to have gone something like this. Wittgenstein is supposed to have asked, how come people thought for so long that the sun revolves around the earth? And Elizabeth Anscombe is supposed to have said, well, it's understandable because that's what the appearances seem to show. It looks like the sun is revolving around the earth. And Wittgenstein is supposed to have answered, but what should the appearances have been like so that it looked as if the earth was really rotating around its axis instead? And of course, it would have looked exactly the same. It does look exactly the same because as a matter of fact, the earth is rotating around its axis and the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Once you have understood that the earth is not the center of the solar system, appearances do not change. The sun still rises in the east and sets in the west. Now, back to free will. The main challenge to the idea that we have free will is the idea of a deterministic universe. The idea that all effects have causes. Even non-linear causes and effects will still have the same implication. Even if the effects are probabilistic, only a likelihood and not a certainty, as long as you have causes and effects, and that's what you have in the universe, it is hard to make free will compatible with that, because it means our actions have causes and our will and motivation have causes, and all of that is determined. So could we really have chosen otherwise? At this stage of the conversation, people sometimes like to point out that there is true randomness in the universe as well, and that this randomness can save free will because it means not everything is determined. But actually it doesn't, because if the alternative to our choices being determined is our choices being random, that's not free will either. That's not what we care about either. But let's accept for a minute the idea of a deterministic universe and see where that takes us. Because what it means is that it's not just our motivation leading to our choices, it's the causes of our motivations leading to our motivations leading to our choices, and that is what makes free will look so fragile under this view. But we could accept that as long as the causal chain goes through our motivations, goes through our thoughts and through our priorities and values, that is what free will really means. That is what matters to us. Free will is about not being subjected to domination by others. So perhaps I could not have chosen otherwise given my upbringing and my circumstances and everything, but I still felt like I was choosing. It was still me that felt like I was choosing, despite the fact that my priorities and values and motivations have causes. They are still my motivations, priorities, and values. In addition to that, I cannot not feel like I am choosing. If I try to surrender to the absence of free will and just stop making choices, that is going to feel like a choice too, a choice that in that view will be determined as well. In the end, even if free will does not exist, we have no choice but to feel like it is us making choices, and perhaps in that different way, it actually is us making choices. In the end, the sun still rises in the east and sets in the west. We still have to balance options. We still have to agonize through difficult choices. We still have to make the whimsical and less consequential choices of everyday life. It is still us choosing, even if the us that chooses is not so fundamentally under our control as we might have thought before.